There was a question about what were some triggers for me afterwards, and this is really interesting to me because um, I realized recently that I hadn't really shared that information with my husband. And I think this whole experience, a lot of why it has been hard for me is that it's so vulnerable. I've really not had to open myself up that way and share myself uh, so much with folks. And I'm realizing now that that's what's going to help me is sharing my story and sharing those vulnerable feelings with those closest to me that I think can support me. Otherwise, it just breeds um, resentment, and it's all based on miscommunication. So I was sharing with my husband how, you know, in the initial aftermath of having a miscarriage, even just going to the grocery store and walking down the aisle where there's baby food was hard. It made me really sad. Just seeing pregnant bellies made me sad, and it hurt, and all sorts of different feelings. Um, you know, coming forward to today, I can see pregnant women. It doesn't affect me as much, but I think, for instance, the other day I saw this woman who was exceptionally pregnant. Like, she looked like she was about to give birth. She was engorged. She was the epitome of fertility, and that was really hard. That one really stuck with me. I can still see her belly in my mind, and that was a few days ago. And how those little things, especially right after a miscarriage, they can be very triggering and can really send you down a spiral. But as you move further away from that miscarriage, they become less and less potent, but they still add up. They're still these small little triggers that eventually may lead you to just break down for what you think is totally irrational. So I had seen, this woman with a pregnant belly. I had, heard someone else talk about uh, child rearing. Like, you hear all these little things. Our culture is obsessed with children and families meaning, that you have children. It's never just a couple, a family. Um, and so you go along and you think that these small triggers are not affecting you when in reality they are. And so, for instance, I was watching this television show where these people were remodeling their home and they already had two little boys. What do you know? They got pregnant with their third while they were completing the home, and they just turned that walk-in closet into a nursery. And oh, it's overlooking the Irish farmlands, and it just made me so mad. And my husband just did not understand how that could be upsetting to me. And I realized that I needed to break it down for him. And I think I realized that I hadn't broken it down for myself yet either, that I didn't realize that these small triggers were building up over time, which led to this eventual sort of meltdown that I had. So those things still happen. They still happen. And I don't know if that's right or wrong. It's just what I have to deal with, and I hope that it becomes easier in time. I think what's going to help is sharing with my husband those feelings as soon as they come up and talking about them with him. He's really my best sounding board right now because he was there. So, our relationship has definitely changed over the course of these years where we've had these losses, and I think it's grown stronger for sure. We started couples counseling, which I don't think we would have ever done before, and it's been so helpful, so extremely helpful. I think that people still get the idea that if you're doing couples counseling, there's something wrong, and I think it's extremely healthy. It's been so life-changing, incredibly life-changing. So I think for anyone, the advice that I can give is definitely therapy is critical to helping you move through any of these types of losses.